Weston Cage, son of Hollywood icon Nicolas Cage, was thrown into cuffs in July 2024 for a brutal assault on his mother, Christina Fulton, in a psychotic rampage that left her battered, half-blind, and gasping for life. Charged with felony assault, he dodged prison with a 2-year mental health program, yet, by April 2025, Nicolas was toasting at Weston's lavish wedding to Jenifer Alexa Canter, as if the blood-soaked past was just a bad script. This is the gritty, sprawling saga of a family torn apart by rage, mental collapse, and the faint hope of redemption, all under the merciless spotlight of fame. April 28, 2024, the night that broke everything. Los Angeles buzzed with its usual chaos, but for Christina Fulton, 57, the night was a descent into hell. Her phone lit up with desperate texts from Weston's friends. "He's losing it. Get here now." The former actress, once Nicolas Cage's partner, sped to her son's apartment on South Main Street, clutching a cheeseburger, a small, desperate attempt to calm him. Weston Cage Coppola, 34, had battled demons for years, but this was different. Fear gnawed at her as she parked, the city's neon glow casting long shadows. Inside, she found a monster. Weston's eyes were wild, his voice a guttural roar. He was spiraling, lost in a mental health crisis fueled by a recent medication change. A car rattled a gate outside, and he snapped. Grabbing Christina's hair, he dragged her into an elevator and unleashed a savage attack. "His thumb gouged my eye socket," she later testified, her voice trembling. "I couldn't see. I couldn't breathe. I thought I was dying." Weston, a 300-pound mixed martial artist, pinned her down, his weight crushing her chest. Her screams bounced off the metal walls until a friend, risking his own life, yanked Weston off. Christina stumbled out, concussed, bruised, with a mangled eye that would scar her physically and emotionally. Weston's rage spilled over. He turned on Rohit Jagadish, a bystander who tried to intervene, pummeling him with fists. Police arrived, but despite Christina's tearful pleas for a psychiatric hold, they let Weston walk. Her battered face, leaked to TMZ, shocked the world, bruises blooming across her cheek, her eye swollen shut. The Los Angeles Police Department confirmed 2 assaults, filing a report that led to a felony warrant. The incident wasn't just a family tragedy, it was a public spectacle, splashed across headlines and dissected on social media. July 2024, the arrest and media frenzy. On July 10, 2024, Weston surrendered to the LAPD, charged with 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon. His booking photo, hollow eyes, disheveled hair, became tabloid fodder. Bail was set at $150,000, which he posted within hours, walking free into a storm of cameras and questions. He pleaded not guilty, his legal team arguing that a botched medication adjustment had triggered a psychotic break. Weston isn't a criminal, his attorney told the press. He's a man fighting severe mental illness. The court opted for mercy, a 2-year mental health diversion program instead of prison, with strict conditions to stay compliant. The arrest was a bombshell, but it was only the first act. Christina, still reeling, filed a lawsuit against Weston's friends, accusing them of knowing he was a ticking bomb yet doing nothing. Court documents detailed how they'd watched him unravel for days, fueled by a toxic mix of prescription drugs and untreated bipolar disorder. The lawsuit also cast a shadow on Nicolas Cage, with Christina claiming his financial abandonment of Weston had left their son without the means to manage his illness. "Nick's got millions," she told a friend, per court filings. "He could have saved Weston. He could have saved me." Nicolas, 61, stayed silent, but his camp pushed back. "Nick has paid for Weston's rehab, therapy, everything," an insider told Page 6. "He's tried for years, but Weston keeps falling." The feud exploded in the media, with Christina's interviews painting a portrait of a family fractured by addiction, mental illness, and unspoken grudges. She spoke of Weston's childhood, how his bipolar disorder surfaced in his teens, leading to hospitalizations and moments of terrifying disconnection. "He'd scream at voices only he could hear," she told The Sun. "I fought to keep him alive. But that night, I almost lost my own life. Weston's long shadow of trouble. Weston's rap sheet wasn't new to those who'd followed the Cage family. In 2011, he was arrested for domestic violence against his first wife, Nikki Williams, after a fight turned physical. Charges were dropped, but the incident marked the start of a public spiral. A 2015 DUI arrest followed, along with multiple rehab stints for substance abuse. His music career, fronting the black metal band Eyes of Noctum, showed flashes of brilliance but collapsed under the weight of his personal chaos. By 2024, Weston was a father of 4, twice divorced, and struggling to stay afloat in the shadow of his father's fame. Christina had been his fiercest advocate, documenting his mental health struggles in court filings and public pleas. She described psychotic episodes that left him unrecognizable, moments where he'd lash out or disappear into his own mind. "He's not a monster," she told reporters post-arrest. "He's sick, and the system failed him." But her advocacy was now tangled with trauma. The attack had left her with nightmares, chronic pain, and a deep-seated fear of the son she still loved. "I want him to heal," she said. "But I have to protect myself." Nicolas Cage, the distant patriarch Nicolas Cage, riding high on critical acclaim for Longlegs and Arcadian, kept the family drama off his red carpet interviews. His relationship with Weston was a mix of love and distance, shaped by his own tumultuous life, 5 marriages, a 5th child born in 2022, and a career that swung between Oscar-worthy and eccentric. Still, he hadn't cut Weston off entirely. Sources said he'd funded multiple rehab programs and quietly checked in, even as their contact grew sporadic. "Nick loves his son," a friend told People. "But he's learned the hard way that you can't force someone to change." Christina's accusations stung. She suggested Nicholas's wealth could have funded better treatment, perhaps preventing the attack. His team countered that he'd poured money into Weston's care, only for relapses to undo the progress. "Nick's done what he can," a source said. "Weston's an adult, making his own choices." The tension between father and mother simmered, with Weston caught in the crossfire, a grown man still tethered to his parents' legacy. The broader context, mental health in Hollywood. The Cage family drama wasn't just a personal tragedy, it was a microcosm of a larger crisis. Mental health issues among celebrities and their families often play out in public, amplified by fame and scrutiny. Weston's bipolar disorder, compounded by substance abuse, mirrored struggles faced by countless others in the industry. The pressure to maintain a public image, coupled with access to wealth and drugs, can turn manageable conditions into disasters. Christina's lawsuit highlighted this, accusing Weston's friends of enabling his spiral by ignoring warning signs. "They partied with him," she claimed. "They saw him breaking and did nothing." The legal system, too, came under fire. Christina's pleas for a psych hold were ignored, a common frustration for families dealing with mental illness. California's 5150 law allows for involuntary psychiatric holds, but officers often lack the training or resources to act. "The cops could have saved him that night," Christina told a podcast in February 2025. "Instead, they left me to bleed." Her story resonated with advocacy groups, who pointed to Weston's case as a failure of a system stretched thin. April 2025, the wedding that stopped the world. Then came the twist that left jaws on the floor. On April 15, 2025, Weston married Jenifer Alexa Canter in a Los Angeles ceremony that screamed Hollywood glamour: white roses, crystal chandeliers, a string quartet playing Vivaldi. Weston, 34, stood tall in a tailored tuxedo, his bride radiant in a silk gown. And there, front and center, was Nicolas Cage, 61, grinning like a proud father. He gave a toast that brought tears, praising Weston's strength and Jenifer's light, according to guests who spoke to Us Weekly. Paparazzi captured the duo laughing, clinking champagne flutes, and embracing, a picture of family unity. The wedding was a media earthquake. Just 9 months earlier, Weston had been in a cell, accused of nearly killing his mother. Christina's absence screamed louder than any statement. Sources said she'd been invited but declined, unable to stomach the celebration. "She loves Weston," but it's too raw, a friend told the Sun. She's still healing. Nicholas's presence, meanwhile, sparked debate. Was he glossing over Weston's crimes? Ignoring Christina's pain? Insiders offered a different take. Nicholas had privately pushed Weston to stick with his mental health program, even footing the bill for a top-tier therapist. Nick showed up for his son, a source said. He believes in redemption. The wedding wasn't just a photo op, it was a tightrope walk. Weston, now living with Jenifer, was reportedly stable, attending therapy and staying on his meds. Jenifer, a calming force, was credited with keeping him grounded. She's his anchor, a friend told In Touch. He's different with her. But the scars remained, Christina's, Weston's, and the family's. The celebration felt like a Hollywood ending, but it was built on fragile ground. The aftermath, a family still fractured. By May 2025, the Cage family was a study in contradictions. Weston, settled in a quiet LA suburb with Jenifer, was meeting the court's demands, showing up for therapy and passing drug tests. Early reports suggested progress, but his history of relapses loomed large. Christina, pursuing her lawsuit, sought damages for her injuries and used her platform to advocate for mental health reform. "My son isn't the villain," she told a March 2025 podcast. "The system failed him. It failed us." She and Weston had exchanged tentative texts, but a full reconciliation was a distant hope. Nicholas, filming a new thriller in Europe, kept his distance from the drama. His silence frustrated some, but those close to him said he was cautiously optimistic about Weston's progress. "Nick's been through hell himself," a colleague said. "He knows recovery's a marathon." His decision to attend the wedding without addressing Christina's pain left a bitter aftertaste. "He's choosing his son," a tabloid wrote. But at what cost? The bigger picture, fame, pain, and redemption. The Cage saga was more than a family feud, it was a mirror held up to Hollywood's underbelly. Mental illness, amplified by fame, wealth, and access to excess, can turn lives into tragedies. Weston's story, bipolar disorder, addiction, violence, wasn't unique, but its public unraveling was. Christina's trauma, Nicholas's distance, and the wedding's surreal optimism painted a complex picture of a family trying to survive. The public couldn't look away. Social media buzzed with takes, some called Weston a monster, others a victim of a broken system. Christina's bruised face and Nicholas's wedding toast became memes, dissected on X with hashtags like #CageChaos. Advocacy groups seized the moment, using the case to push for better mental health resources and police training. "Weston's story is every family's story," a psychiatrist wrote in a viral thread. "We're just seeing it in HD." The unfinished story. By May 2025, the Cage family was still standing, but the cracks were glaring. Weston's stability was a question mark. Could he outrun his past? Christina's fight, in court and in public, was far from over. Could she forgive, or at least find peace? Nicholas, ever the enigma, was both present and absent. Would he step up or stay on the sidelines? The saga, like a Nick Cage movie, was chaotic, gripping, and unresolved. It was a story of blood, betrayal, and the faint hope of redemption, played out on a stage where the whole world was watching. Los Angeles, July 2025. Weston, now 34, was supposed to be on the straight and narrow. His wedding to Jenifer had been a public triumph, a middle finger to the tabloids that branded him a lost cause. Living in a modest LA bungalow, he was complying with his 2-year mental health diversion program, therapy sessions, medication checks, and court-mandated sobriety. Jenifer, 29, was his anchor, her calm demeanor a counterweight to his stormy past. "He's trying," she told a friend, per a leaked text reported by The Sun. "Every day's a battle, but he's fighting." But the battle was fiercer than anyone knew. Weston's bipolar disorder, a lifelong shadow, didn't vanish with love or therapy. In June, a missed therapy session raised red flags with his court officer. By July, sources close to the family whispered of erratic behavior, late-night rants, skipped meds, and a troubling return to old haunts. A grainy ex-post from an anonymous user claimed Weston was spotted at a dive bar, looking wired. The post went viral, fueling speculation that he was slipping. His legal team scrambled to quash the rumors, insisting he was fully compliant with his program. But the damage was done. The public smelled blood. Christina Fulton, 58, watched from a distance, her heart torn. The 2024 assault, when Weston gouged her eye and nearly crushed her in an elevator, left scars that hadn't faded. Her lawsuit against his friends, accusing them of enabling his meltdown, was gaining traction, with depositions scheduled for August. She'd also begun therapy to process the trauma, but the pain of seeing Weston's name in headlines again was a fresh wound. "I want him to succeed," she told a close confidant, per court filings. "But I can't trust him yet." Her absence at the wedding had spoken volumes. Now, she faced a harder choice: reach out or protect her fragile peace. August 2025, Nicolas Cage, 61, had kept the drama at arm's length, focusing on his latest film, a gritty sci-fi epic shooting in Prague. But the rumors of Weston's relapse pulled him back. In early August, he flew to LA for a rare face-to-face with his son. The meeting, at a discreet coffee shop in Silver Lake, was tense. Weston, gaunt and defensive, admitted to a rough patch, but swore he hadn't used drugs. Nicolas, no stranger to personal demons, listened quietly, then laid down an ultimatum: get back on track, or you're on your own. According to a source who overheard the exchange, Nicolas handed Weston a card for a new psychiatrist and promised to cover the cost, but only if he recommitted to treatment. The intervention was a gamble. Nicolas's relationship with Weston had been rocky for years, strained by distance and Weston's resentment of his father's fame. Christina's accusations, that Nicolas's financial cutoff had pushed Weston to the edge, still lingered. But this time, Nicolas wasn't just throwing money at the problem. He stayed in LA for a week, meeting with Weston's probation officer and even calling Christina, their first real conversation in years. "He wants to help," Christina later told a friend, per the Daily Mail. "But it's complicated. We're not a team." September 2025, the courtroom clash. The legal system, meanwhile, was closing in. Weston's diversion program required a progress hearing in September, and the judge wasn't pleased. The missed therapy session and bar citing, though unproven, cast doubt on his commitment. His attorney argued that Weston had since doubled down, attending extra sessions and passing a drug test. The judge extended his program by 6 months, a warning shot, one more slip, and jail was back on the table. Weston left the courthouse pale, Jenifer gripping his hand, paparazzi swarming like vultures. Christina's lawsuit added fuel to the fire. In a dramatic August deposition, she detailed the assault's aftermath: chronic migraines, vision loss in one eye, and PTSD that kept her up at night. She accused Weston's friends of knowing he was off his meds yet hosting him at parties. The defendants fired back, claiming Christina was exaggerating for sympathy and a payout. The case was set for trial in early 2026, promising more headlines and family strain. "I'm not doing this for money," Christina told a podcast. "I'm doing it so no other mother goes through this." October 2025, a tentative step forward. By October, Weston seemed to stabilize. Nicolas's intervention, coupled with Jenifer's support, pushed him back to therapy. He started a new medication regimen, one that balanced his moods without the side effects that had derailed him. A quiet moment came when he texted Christina, a simple message: "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm trying." She didn't respond right away, but the words cracked her armor. "It's a start," she told her therapist, per a source. "But sorry doesn't erase what happened." Nicolas, back in Prague, kept tabs through Jenifer. He also made a rare public comment, telling Variety, "Family is messy, but it's worth fighting for." Weston's got a long road, but he's not alone. The quote, brief but raw, was a departure from his usual silence. Fans on X praised his candor, while others slammed him for not addressing Christina's pain. The Cage family, as always, was a lightning rod for debate. The bigger picture, a family in limbo. By late 2025, the Cage saga was a microcosm of a universal struggle: how to love someone who's hurt you, how to heal when the wounds are still fresh. Weston's fight to stay stable was a daily grind, with no guarantee of success. Christina's pursuit of justice, in court and in her heart, was a tightrope walk between vengeance and forgiveness. Nicolas, caught between his son's chaos and his own life, was learning that even a Hollywood legend can't script a perfect ending. The public remained hooked. Posts tracked every twist, from Weston's courtroom appearance to Nicolas's coffee shop showdown. Mental health advocates used the case to push for reform, citing the system's failure to help Weston before the assault. "This isn't just about the Cages," a psychiatrist tweeted. "It's about every family begging for help and getting none." Christina's story, in particular, resonated with survivors of domestic violence, her resilience a beacon amid the chaos. As 2025 drew to a close, the Cage family was still standing, but the ground beneath them was shaky. Weston's next court date loomed, Christina's trial was months away, and Nicolas's role remained unclear. Would Weston hold it together? Could Christina find a path to reconciliation? And would Nicolas finally bridge the gap between father and son, mother and ex? The saga, like a Nick Cage blockbuster, was messy, gripping, and far from over, a story of blood, pain, and the stubborn hope that keeps families fighting, even when all seems lost.